Lena found the map inside a library book she absolutely wasn't supposed to open. It slipped out the moment she turned the page. Thin, yellowed paper folded into careful, precise sections. But when she unfolded it, she realized the lines didn't match any city she had ever seen. There were no street names, no landmarks, no compass rose, just winding paths that looped into themselves, intersected in impossible places, and sometimes simply stopped in the middle of nowhere. At the bottom, written in faint ink that looked like it had faded and reappeared over time, were 3 words: "Do not follow." Lena should have closed the book immediately and returned it. Instead, she memorized the map. That night, she couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the strange pathways again. One in particular kept pulling at her thoughts, a long curved route that seemed to lead off the edge of the page. By midnight, she gave up pretending she could ignore it. She got dressed and slipped out of her house. She walked into the quiet streets. The town was different at night. Softer, slower. Streetlights hummed like distant insects. Lena walked without a clear destination, yet every turn she made felt strangely familiar. Left at the bakery, right past the old fountain, straight through the alley that always smelled faintly of rain. Her stomach tightened as she realized something uncomfortable. She wasn't choosing the path. She was following it. Eventually, she arrived at a place that did not belong in her town. The air here felt wrong, not cold or hot, just absent. Like sound had to push harder to exist. At the far end stood a door. It wasn't attached to anything. No wall, no frame. Just a freestanding wooden door, slightly worn, etched with faint shifting lines that looked like the map she had seen. Lena stopped. Her heart was beating too loudly. Behind her, the town felt distant now, like it was already forgetting her presence. A whisper brushed past her ear. "You came anyway." She spun around. No one was there. Only the alley. Only silence. When she turned back, the door was open. Beyond it wasn't darkness. It was a road. A long, winding path stretching beneath a sky she didn't recognize, deep violet with slow-moving lights. The air beyond smelled like wind before a storm, and something older than weather. Lena stepped closer. On the other side of the threshold stood a signpost. Her name was carved into it. Not painted, not written. Carved as if it had always been there. Beneath her name were directions. Forward. Or back. If you still remember how. Lena swallowed. She looked over her shoulder one last time. The alley behind her already seemed less real, like a photograph someone was slowly erasing. She thought about turning back. She thought about the library, her bed, tomorrow. But the map had not said do not go. It had said do not follow. And she had already followed too far back to mean what it used to. So she stepped through. The moment she crossed the threshold, the world shifted. The door vanished behind her. The road under her feet solidified like it had been waiting for her weight. The sky above deepened, and the drifting lights began to move in patterns, almost like they were responding to her arrival. Lena stood still for a moment, trying to understand where she was. Then she heard footsteps behind her. She turned quickly. A figure stood a short distance away on the road. Not threatening, not close, just waiting. They raised a hand in greeting. "You found it," the figure said. Lena hesitated. "What is this place?" The figure glanced around, as if the answer was obvious. "Between," they said. "Most people never notice it. Fewer ever reach it." Lena looked back at the empty space where the door had been. "And the map?" "Not a map," the figure corrected gently. "A test. Or a key. Depends on who you ask." She frowned. "A key to what?" The figure smiled slightly. "To everywhere you've been avoiding." A gust of wind rolled down the path, carrying faint echoes, voices, laughter. Footsteps that didn't belong to this place or time. The road seemed longer now than it had a moment ago, stretching in directions she couldn't fully understand. Lena felt something shift in her chest, not fear exactly, more like the realization that she had stepped into a story. "What happens if I go forward?" she asked. The figure turned, looking down the endless road. "You find out what the map was trying to show you," they said. "And if I go back?" The figure didn't answer immediately. Then, quietly, "You forget you were ever here." Lena looked at the road again. Forward didn't feel safe, but back didn't feel real anymore. She took a step, then another, and the path responded, as if it had been waiting the entire time for her to choose movement over certainty. Behind her, the last echo of her old world faded without sound. Ahead, the road continued endless, unfamiliar, and strangely welcoming. And Lena finally kept walking.